So we all know in America, gun violence has skyrocketed. There's been many school shootings, many mass shootings, even if they don't want to classify them as mass shootings, etc. Okay, guns are a huge problem here, and I personally believe that we should all take the approach that Australia had, but I digress. But what we're having now is a meetup that has happened between Kamala Harris and the rapper Quavo of the Migos. You know, he had Quavo, Offset, and then Takeoff, okay? And they're teaming up to end gun violence. I thought this was a bit odd, you know, considering the kind of music that's been played. But I was like, okay, maybe it's a little different.
Quavo is launching a 100,000
has this Rocket Foundation, which essentially is to help the youth and to help prevent gun violence, to kind of stop it from happening. Okay, so that's really the whole point of it. So that's why she's teaming up with him, because Takeoff actually died. Okay, so this is what really sprung it. So I was like, okay, so after he died, that's when you're like, okay, we got to do something as a community, as the rap community. We can't keep rapping, or I'm not going to keep rapping about guns and drugs and all that kind of stuff that can lead to negativity within the community. Okay, I'm not going to be promoting any of this kind of stuff that can lead to death, especially among our reckless youth, which is what we've been seeing. Okay, so I thought it was pretty interesting. I have an article here, and then I have some rap lyrics that I actually am just going to read. I'm not a rapper, okay, so don't come at me, all right? But let's get into it. Kamala Harris to headline gun control event with rapper Quavo, who glorified firearms in songs before his nephew's death. Vice President Kamala Harris will jet down to Atlanta, for a gun violence prevention discussion with Migos rapper Quavo, who has often exalted firearms in his own music. And I was over here thinking like, okay, once your nephew passed, there's not going to be any more of that kind of discussion, especially since you have a foundation, right? It only makes sense. Quavo, born Quavius Keate Marshall, launched the Rocket Foundation following the death of his nephew and bandmate Takeoff, who was shot and killed November 1st, 2022 at a private party in Houston, Texas. All right. I was just wondering, like, for me, why did we have to wait until someone was dead before we addressed the issue of guns? Because if you were talking about it before, rapping about it, I'm sure you probably had some if you're talking about it, allegedly. So I'm just curious, why now when, you know, even though the foundation was made like 2 years ago, but why now when this should have been addressed before, you know? But let's continue. The foundation describes its goal as ending gun violence in America through investing in so-called community violence intervention, CVI, programs that emphasize community-led care and address conflict, trauma, community needs, youth development, and much more, which is great. Okay, so if you want to be like, okay, well, you know, I used to rap about the guns and all that, but I'm gonna straighten it up. Cool, I'm cool. Okay, you know what? If this is what you needed, with someone to die, fine. Now let's go and move on to something better, right? During the heyday of Migos, which was active for 15 years before disbanding following the murder of Takeoff, the Georgia-based group released multiple songs that could be read as glorifying gun violence. All right. So Quavo ended up saying, we need to do better with the control of guns. We need to figure out how do we keep these types of incidents from happening to people going anywhere and thinking they could hurt someone when it should not happen. It's all about choices and how we can put a filter on who can use these guns. Okay. I also would say not just who can use them, but what kinds. Okay. We got a lot of ghost guns out here. We got a lot of those little Glock switches. We have, you know, these guns where instead of it being 12 bullets, you could add on extended magazines and then make it so that instead of it being boom, 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 it's from one thing, you know. So there's that. The 33-year-old has committed over $2 million to help violence intervention programs in communities, many of them based in Atlanta, where they made their names. Okay, so I was like, this actually seemed pretty good. Okay, Kamala Harris, you doing a little something, even though I ain't seen you hardly. But I was like, you're doing a little something. So out of curiosity, I was like, well, let me just make sure that his songs aren't, glorifying guns or even talking about guns in any kind of way. So he has this song that was released in 2024 called Himothy. Okay, and it says a song by Quavo. So I have some lyrics that I thought was interesting. And you all let me know down below what you all think of this as well. I didn't take the MARTA cause it didn't go to Jimmy Carter. Nah. Trapping smarter, not harder. Scamming Wells Fargo in a Charger. Want me to show you how to get to the top. So with that, I'm like, oh, okay. Charger, we know people stealing those cars. And I was like, you're scamming them. Okay, maybe this is whatever. Okay, this is just lyrics, whatever. So, can't be anything crazy. I call all the Instagram models, tell them, let's take a trip to Cabo. Go. Shoot. I'm popping my boop. Like, hey mama, call me Johnny Bravo. Yeah, bulletproof, the Tahoe, in the man, macho, huh? So I thought, I'm like, okay, this is supposed to be a popular song, made in 2024. Takeoff ended up dying November 1st, 2022. So I'm like, I guess you're saying bulletproof the Tahoe. So why would you need that bulletproof? Are you doing any kind of illicit activities? Anything that's requiring guns and drugs? Why would you need a bulletproof Tahoe? My car is not bulletproof, and most people's cars are not bulletproof. So why would you need your car to be bulletproof? I guess I'm confused. Okay. So I thought that was odd, but I'm like, whatever. Okay. Jump out the gym. We all trim. Making a movie, but film. Okay, we're going to skip that because of the illicits. All right. Please do not play with them. Got shooters in the crib. They stay with him. Checking my safe. AM. So you're talking about bulletproofing your Tahoe. Put my hands up. You're talking about bulletproofing your Tahoe, and then you say you got shooters in the crib. This was made in 2024, yet you have a check notes rocket foundation that is for, let's go and look, ending gun violence in America, but you're talking about bulletproofing a Tahoe and you got shooters in your crib. Or you could say, oh, well, he's not talking directly about himself, he's talking about someone else. But you said bulletproofing the Tahoe, and fine, this person got shooters in their crib. Well, why would you need that? That goes into the glorification of the street thug hood life that these kids, that's why you have, that these kids like. That's why you would see many times in these arrest videos. It's like these 14-year-old kids are getting arrested and they're smiling. They're like, yeah, I earned my stripes. But you committed a crime and you're going to be in prison or jail. Juvenile detention. But we have check notes. The Rocket Foundation, that was founded because your nephew Takeoff died in 2022 at a private party, ending gun violence in America through investing in so-called community violence intervention programs that emphasize community-led care and address conflict, trauma, community needs, youth development, and much more. Did Kamala Harris, and I'm just curious, did she look at his lyrics? Because this didn't take long for me to find. All I had to do was type in Quavo popular song 2024, and it popped right up. It was that in another song. I was like, well, let me see what this one is. I didn't even bother looking at the other one because I was like, what's the point? This one is already telling me all that I need to know. So I just find it odd that Kamala Harris is like, okay, yeah, let's go work with you, okay? My black people in the community, look, I got one of your favorite artists here. He's trying to end gun violence, y'all. But then you look at his lyrics and it's still promoting thug hood, gang life. Because why would you need your Tahoe bulletproof unless you're participating in illicit activities? Unless if you're like a mailman or something, or you work at a bank, I don't think you would necessarily need your Tahoe to be bulletproof. But if you are participating in selling drugs, arms dealing, I think you would probably need that. Now you could say, oh, he's a celebrity. But then he said, I got shooters in the crib, or got shooters in the crib. It says got shooters in the crib. They stay with him. So you could say, okay, well, there's someone else. Still, it doesn't have to directly be. You're talking about someone having shooters in the crib. In your house, you have people with a whole bunch of guns. At the private party, we have people with a whole bunch of guns. It might not. I guess I'm confused. So I thought this was very odd because I was like, why would you pick this person? It's like you're saying, oh, well, I don't want to have anything for, I don't know, let's say the Mary Janes. I don't want anything for the Mary Jane. Hey, y'all, I got Snoop Dogg over here. Let's talk about how that stuff ain't that good for you, whether you believe it is or not. Okay. But that would be the wrong person to have because you'll be like, Snoop Dogg. Reality check. Okay. So I just found that to be odd, that she ended up having him and he has a foundation for this, yet he's still talking about demeaning women in his lyrics. There's that. But you're still talking about the gun violence. And the vice president didn't think to do a fact check and look and be like, oh, shoot, dude, what's this? Ah, man, I'm talking about somebody. Yeah, but it can come off as though you're glorifying this. Can we not do it at all? Can we, I would just have to pick somebody else because you appear to be glorifying this, even though you have a foundation for it and you're promoting the destruction of the community, yet you say that this foundation is supposed to be helping the community. But I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but let me know what you all think down below.